All right, let's continue to get you the live updates that are coming in from Australia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today, who would be wrapping up his three-nation tour and will be heading back to Delhi. As far as today's engagements are concerned, Prime Minister has been holding bilaterals with his Australian counterpart in Sydney. Now, this meeting that has also been attended by India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and NSA Ajit Doval, as the Prime Minister on Wednesday also was accorded a ceremonial guard of honour at the Admiralty House in Sydney, Australia. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi also signed the visitors' book at the Admiralty House in Sydney. Earlier yesterday, it was the Prime Minister in his key address to the Indian diaspora at a community event during his Sydney visit highlighted the mutual trust and the mutual respect are the foundation of the close historical ties between India and Australia. Rishabh, good morning to you as we continue to play out more reactions that have been coming in, and the sentiment that is something that we have seen. The rousing welcome that Prime Minister Narendra Modi got yesterday, but today it is down to business.
Definitely. Yesterday was all community level interaction and meeting business stalwarts as well as CEOs of startups and other influencers in Australia. But today it was all business. India has signed a number of MOUs in trade and have also announced a task force on green hydrogen. But also, India has raised potent issues with Australia, with the, separatism that is brewing in Australia for India on Australian soil. That has been raised again by Prime Minister with his counterpart, Australian counterpart, and the attacks on temple. We have recently seen attacks in different parts of Australia, including Sydney as well as Melbourne, where Swaminarayan temples or other Hindu temples were vandalized with pro-Khalistani slogans. That has been issued again by the Prime Minister, and he has said that Prime Minister Albanese have worked on in this regard. He appreciated, but more work is required. Also, a display of India-Australia friendship was all over this visit of Prime Minister Modi to Australia. As you mentioned, the 3Ds, Dosti, diaspora and democracy was out on display, and the way Prime Minister has got the rousing welcome, not only by the Indian diaspora, but even by the Australian authorities. That is unparalleled. PM has met the Governor General and met different dignitaries in Australia, and definitely a very successful bilateral visit for Prime Minister, though this visit was initially meant for the Quad summit, which unfortunately could not happen in Sydney and was shifted to Hiroshima, where it happened on the sidelines of G7. But Prime Minister decided to go ahead with his Australian tour, and the results are in front of us. The way India has signed MOUs, that is something which is very unprecedented. And the green hydrogen that India has been seeking for a long time, now a task force is being created for that, and that will help India even face the pollution issues that we face every year in cities like Delhi and Bangalore. So a lot of business, a lot of trade agreements, a lot of exchange of MOUs on the card today. And then later this evening, we'll have a dinner for Prime Minister Narendra Modi by Prime Minister Albanese before he leaves Sydney for India.
Right, but Rishabh, because Prime Minister holding also meeting with the business leaders of top Australian companies in Sydney on Tuesday, and during his meetings, he has been also calling for enhancing cooperation with the Indian industry in areas that we talk about technology, clean energy and skilling as well.
Definitely. See, India do understand that Australia has opportunities that India can encash, and Australia understand that the labor, the working mind that Australia requires for furthering its technology comes from India, and this is a mutual benefit for both India and Australia, and that's the reason that both India and Australia are so keen to it. We have seen in past that India had been trading with Australia, but the trade, the MOUs, the exchange of technology and clean energy between these two countries have gone one notch higher in last 1 decade. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is just trying to further that cooperation between the two countries, and that's the reason. And also we need to understand that India has a strong diaspora in Australia, and that makes the leaders in Australia also politically inclined toward India, because end of the day, they are also a democracy. They need votes. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cooperation also suggests that Indian diaspora would start looking positively towards them politically as well. And that's the reason.
Well, Rishabh, thank you very much for those updates.